Hey guys, we're here at the 2024 Summit Racing Goodguys Nationals in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Got great weather and got a ton of good stuff for the gearheads. Classic cars, muscle cars, hot rods, everything under the sun, literally. Let's go walk the show and see what we can find out. We're at the 2024 Summit Racing Goodguys Nationals in Columbus, Ohio, and this year, like they do almost every year, they're having a feature mark, and this year's feature mark is the GTO. Now, certainly these event halls are filled with all sorts of judges and goats of every generation. Believe it or not, 1973 is kind of an oddball, and in the best of ways. Here we've got a 1973 Pontiac GTO, and what's your name, sir?
Chip Ackerman.
Chip, tell us about this car, why it's so special, and why what drew you to it.
Well, I had one back in the 70s when I was young and loved the car. Ended up selling it. The guy caught me on the right day, and I knew when I sold it that I had messed up. Had acquired other cars over the years, and about 2008 I decided I'd like to have another one of those, and I started looking.
Tell us what makes the 73 such a special year for GTOs.
It's just a one-year only car. The only year for this body style. The Le Mans and the Grand Am all the way through 77. The GTO was just 1 year. They only built 4,806 of them, by far the lowest number ever for any production year for the GTO. And the fact that I had one when I was young, and I loved that car, and I just decided I wanted another one. It's unique. I love the body lines, the style of it, drives great. The thing that impressed me more than anything when I got there to look at the car, it's had one repaint in the factory color, which is Ascot Silver. They just did the outer surfaces. This is all original. So you don't have to worry about rust and stuff. Under the trunk, under the hood, they didn't do any of that. They left it all original, which was amazing. It had 113,000 miles when I found it. The interior's all original. I've got 128 on it now. I have rebuilt the motor. I have put new shocks on it. Other than that, just taking care of it and enjoying it.
Well, we thank you so much for bringing it out to the show today.
Thank you.
Just a good example of what kind of cool, rare, and unique cars you'll see at a Goodguys show. With that said, let's go hit the show grounds again and see what else we can find. All right, the 2024 Summit Racing Goodguys Nationals. We're here with a very familiar face, Murray Pfaff. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, it's great to see you.
Normally, we associate you with like street rods and late models and stuff, but you've got something even cooler, I dare say. Tell us about what you brought to the show.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I've gone and dipped my toe into the air-cooled world, the VW-based world. I've got myself a 1974 Meyers Manx SR2, and the SR stood for Street Roadster. So once Bruce Meyers was well on his way with dune buggy fame, he was like, you know, a lot of my dune buggies are being shipped to inland addresses, nowhere near the ocean, the lakes, the sand dunes. I think there's a market for a street car, and so this was what he put together.
Now, when you were looking for something like this, were you looking for the exact SR2 or were you looking for some sort of in between? How did you find this car?
Looking for it. I didn't even know these things existed.
Fair.
I had a buddy out in Albuquerque that bought one a couple years ago. I was like, what is that? Oh my God, that's incredible. So I kind of put it on my mental bucket list. And I was like, he's like, dude, you know, there's less than 200 of these ever made. And I was like, well, that's going to be impossible to find. Little known, he came up with another one. I started doing some research. I called a few buddies in the Detroit area that knew air-cooled stuff. They said, there's 4 of them here in Detroit. I was like, how is that possible? So I wound up with this car, which is an example. I bought it from the guy who originally built it as a kit.
Okay. And
back in 1974, this was $3,995. And that didn't give you a car. Then you had to go source the VW, the pan, and the engine and everything else and put it together.
Did it come to you in this condition? Have you done anything to it yet?
One of the backstories, one of the justifications I had for buying it was I wanted something to work on with my 7-year-old. I've got my Imperial Speedster, I've got a big 56 Cadillac lead sled, you know, shiny paint jobs, beautiful interiors, and every time it's in the garage, I'm like, let me get your bike. You know, I'll get the door for you. And I didn't want him to grow up with that sort of relationship with cars. So this one, we do garage nights on Thursdays with he and his buddies. I don't have to sweat it if he's walking around it with a wrench, if he's slamming the door, if they're playing in it. You know, it's much more relaxed. So that's how we're treating it, you know?
So what are your plans for it? What are you going to do with it?
Enjoy it. Over the winter, we did what I'll call sympathetic restorations because this car was really a time capsule. So I didn't want to ruin that by any means. I wanted to keep it like it was set 50 years ago, but just be able to enjoy it. So I've put in a new suspension, new wheels and tires, done some updates to the, I put a stereo in it. So
obligatory.
Right?
Yeah. We thank you so much for bringing it to the show. It's great meeting you again, and we'll keep on walking the show. This is Summit Racing 2024, the Goodguys Nationals, with Murray Pfaff, talking all about his Meyers Manx SR2.
That's correct.
Oh, very good. We'll go see some more cars.
Thanks so much.
No, thank you. The Summit Racing Goodguys Nationals here in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. It's beautifully sunny out. Of course, we're inside one of the barns, which, it's hot out, so it's delightful. But it's also delightful because we came across this amazing 1959 Chevy El Camino, and we've got his owner. Sir, what's your name?
My name is Bill May.
So this is a pretty unique car. What's under the hood?
348 tri-power.
Big block Chevy tri-power with a really interesting transmission, correct?
5-speed standard, assembled out of an 87 Camaro transmission and an 87 S10.
Were you looking for this car? Were you big an El Camino guy, or was this specific car like in your sights, or did you just kind of come across it?
A friend of mine owned it, and he wanted to get rid of it, and I bought it, and I got it home. It was rusted so bad that I found another one up in northern Ohio, and I went up there and looked at it. It had a pretty much rust-free body, and I bought it, and I used the 2 cars to build the one.
So this is pretty much built from the ground up?
Yes.
And completely, you did most of the work?
I've done all the body work, and I put it all together myself.
Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your car with us, and hope you have a great rest of your show.
Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap for the 2024 Summit Racing Goodguys Nationals in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. We saw everything from pre-war street rods and hot rods to some 4th-gen Camaros, Fox body Mustangs, heck, even a couple of vintage motorcycles rolled into the show. Great event, but if you weren't lucky enough to make it, the next best thing is the My Garage feature at summitracing.com. It's available now. It's a free online car community tailored to gearhead enthusiasts like you and me. We can post pictures of our vehicles, our project cars, whatever we're working on, and whatever we're doing to it, whether it's an engine swap, transmission swap, rear end swap, whatever, you can post it there at My Garage. Connect with other gearheads all over the planet as well too. So check it out right now, free online car community, My Garage, summitracing.com.